Almost exactly 5 years ago, Grenfell behind me was a towering inferno. 72 innocent souls perished in a fire that blazed throughout the night. The brave firefighters, poorly resourced, in some ways poorly led, were left up a tall building without a ladder, at least a ladder that would reach to the top of the building. 72 innocent souls, men, women and children, were incinerated in this inferno. We lived very nearby at the time, and for many weeks, even months afterwards, you could still smell the incineration. It was easy to imagine the demise that had been suffered by those 72 people. It's in the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, a tale of two cities, as so much of Britain is. Some of the richest people in the world live in the Royal Borough, and some of the poorest also. And the poorest of those lived in tower blocks like this one. Improperly clad, indeed dangerously clad, perilously, fatally, dangerously clad, with no proper fire exits, with no proper ability of the fire brigade to fight a fire such as the one that they encountered. As a matter of fact, the London Fire Brigade and its firemen and firewomen, firefighters all, are heroes of this story, although some people tried to turn them into villains. Because, of course, after the great crime that was the Grenfell Tower Inferno, there had to be scapegoats sought, and they couldn't be in the government, could they? I'm not making a party political point, because the relaxation of the regulations that used to apply to cladding and fire safety had been abandoned, first of all, by the Blair and Brown Labour government, but of course continued enthusiastically by the cost-cutting, deregulating, privatising, Conservative Liberal Democrat coalition and the Tory government that followed it. The truth is that the entire community remains traumatised, as you can see from the posters and banners around this site, ever since that tragedy, because there has been no justice. Everybody in Britain knows about the Grenfell Tower Inferno, but most people don't know that its victims still have not properly received justice, and its villains, the villains of the piece, who put the improper cladding on, who put the dangerous, toxic, highly flammable cladding on, are still not on trial. Moreover, the government, which declared that it would make sure that Grenfell never happened again, even though it had happened several times before, have still not done what they promised to do. Michael Gove, the government minister responsible, was on the radio on Friday saying that the progress in proper cladding, proper fire safety for 10,000 buildings like this one, 10,000 like this one, with thousands and thousands of people living in them, had been far too slow. Well, whose fault was that, Michael? Your government has been in power throughout the time that this progress has been painfully slow. He says on the 5th anniversary that thankfully progress is now beginning to accelerate. Why didn't it accelerate from the first moment? Why have all these thousands of people had their lives put at risk, like the 72 that perished here? Why weren't they made safe long before now? The truth is, it was cost-cutting and deregulating and privatising that led to this tragedy. It was the encamping of poor people in dangerous buildings that led to this tragedy. It was the tale of two cities, Britain, that led to this tragedy. We lived here. My children went to school here. I was a school governor here. My wife had a shop here. We feel still, 5 years on, a part of this community. And you see that heart on the sign behind me? That heart remains broken. Rest in peace, if you can, the victims of the Grenfell disaster, the Grenfell crime.